Welcome to the healthcare panel here on Eureka this year. I would first say everyone in the audience, since the room is so packed, make some noise. Everyone who gets some noise is getting a free healthcare treatment from us. Okay, thank you. We got 30 minutes here to talk about revolution in healthcare. And as everyone knows, revolutions start with people who want to make a difference. So please introduce yourself. You're the protagonists of this revolution. Tell us what you are making and who you are in just a few sentences.
I'm Johanna from Speechagain. We're doing a digital speech therapy for people who stutter. So we're offering an evidence-based therapy method, which is available anywhere and anytime. And it's based on artificial intelligence and feedback algorithm.
Okay, thanks.
Is working?
Vincent?
Hello? Yeah, great. Hi, my name is Vincent. I'm from Ada. We're helping people to get the right diagnosis to help them then to navigate them to the right treatment. We do that we're an artificial intelligence-based chatbot that served so far around 5 million people. And I'm very curious to see the discussion today.
Thank you. Friedrich.
Hi, I'm Friedrich Lämmel, one of the managing partners and co-founders of Thrive. We are a Fraunhofer spin-off providing a single access to wearable health data. So integrating, standardizing, harmonizing the myriad devices out there and allowing providers of digital health service, be it diabetes, be it depression, be it migraine, to understand better when to talk to a user, when to actually diagnose something, understand better how a therapy is faring, and also understand better what the outcomes are. We provide the objective measurement for that, we understand the data, and we help digital health services to provide an overall better experience.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Do I need that as well? I don't think so. I'm Farina. I'm the founder of Selfapy, an online therapy platform for mental health disorders. So a topic that usually, makes the people turn like that. Pretty much we've developed an algorithm for depression, eating disorders, anxiety, and also for prevention topics to provide immediate help to people that have any kind of mental health disorders. We're doing that through an online therapy course, but also through the human factor. So we're combining online and offline in a way with 20 psychologists in our team that guide the people through the therapy. And I'm really happy to be here today.
Thank you for it. Let's dive a little bit deeper in what you're doing and what you're facing in your work. Farina, let's start with you. You're touching a kind of taboo, like you said. We're talking about depression. How do corporates react when you are offering products or cures for depression among their employees?
I guess I would say the perfect answer would be it depends. Like there's obviously a difference, right? There's people that were corporates that we talk to that are totally open for the topic and that actually have realized that the second biggest reason for people to fall sick are mental health disorders. So they've taken it really seriously and they are interested in also investing into that topic. But there's also, and this is a recent experience I had where one of the MDs of a big corporate said to me, it's like, Farina, if you start talking about burnout in our company, everybody will get burnout straight away. I was like, I'm not sure if I see the correlation in that, but the topic is still highly stigmatized, I would say, and it is extremely difficult to penetrate that topic into the organizations.
I understand. And among the users, I mean, I could imagine that if you have something like Selfapy, it may be a big relief if you are otherwise, just lost without any therapist. But could you track some kind of net promoter score? Is there a mouth-to-mouth propaganda among users to recommend Selfapy?
I'll be the worst marketer if it wasn't the case. I think I wouldn't stand here anymore. Yes, there is. We are actually tracking a net promoter score. I think about a third actually of our customers come through referrals, which is quite a big number. Yeah. But I would say there's still a huge opportunity in that. Yeah. But besides the net promoter score, which I think is important to track and important to grow, obviously, more important is actually how effective the therapy is. And it's as effective as a traditional psychotherapy, We've done a few studies about that, and the symptom reduction really makes the people talk about it. So the better the symptom reduction gets, the better the Net Promoter Score gets.
Okay, okay, understand. Johanna, you got an even smaller target group than Farina.
It's not so small. It's 85 million people worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
it's 1.2% of the world's population, but of course smaller.
But I mean, compared to depression, it's maybe not, you know, that every second illness day in corporates is due to stuttering problems.
Yes.
But tell me, is it an advantage if you have a very, you know, precise target group to address? Would you see it as an advantage, or is it like more difficult because you cannot spread like your message so easily?
For us, actually, here in Germany, it was definitely an advantage because one of our co-founders is the Kassler Stuttering Institute, and we're working, of course, together with them. And they're really the leading institute in Europe, and there it's good to have like this niche. When it goes, now we are going to the US market and have our launch in fall this year. And this is, of course, a totally new situation for us, and we have to do it through marketing. And yeah, because we are not live yet, so it's for us more like finding partnerships with stuttering organizations, their therapists, and of course, like the classic marketing.
Okay, but because I could imagine, you know, normally people just recognize you when you're alive with your product, but the hustle starts long before. You have some kind of speech recognition in your app, and I'm just curious, you know, how it works. How do you train an app which is not ready to go to market with people with speech problems?
Yeah, that's a good point. And we are also doing at the moment in the United States a beta, because we have to test it and have to find a way. And also, this is also why we are part of the German Accelerator Tech and started already in October last year.
Yeah.
So we had a long time to establish also a network there.
And you have to train each language. That's a difference. It's not that you have like kind of a translation service, you know, just to translate button titles. It's a completely new thing.
Of course, but this is actually, we also thought like, oh, that could be like a mission. But it's actually much easier than we expected. We did it already, we trained it with English and also Portuguese, and it worked pretty well.
Okay. Vincent, talking about data, I mean, you're probably the deepest data diver here today on stage. First of all, congratulations, because it's, as everyone knows, it's not very easy to get access to data. How did you manage that, to get so much data to train your app that it is already a help for a lot of people?
First question, is anyone from IBM here? Okay. So we built our product over 5 years and with a core team of around 40 doctors. So the neural networks we are using are ultimately not based on data and algorithms, but we build them by hand first, then train the algorithm with the network with feedback from doctors. And then we put it out to users, and now we're getting millions and millions of users who give us the data for free to even make it better. And we believe that is also the magic behind Ada, and compared to IBM Watson, for example, which is not working out, putting all your efforts completely only on data, because machine learning completely based on data is very ineffective. So you have millions and millions of trials to make a very small step forward in learning. And you especially try to learn from experience, which is kind of the middle age before we discovered science and experiment and scientific studies. So we not really believe in that approach.
But would you agree? I mean, you know, everyone's talking about artificial intelligence in healthcare. It's like everyone is talking about engines, no one is talking about fuel. Do we have a fuel problem regarding data and the data privacy we have here in Germany? Would you say this is an obstacle for companies who want to do AI?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I know we're using AI as well, but we all know ultimately it's bullshit. It's mainly machine learning. It's mainly actually neural network learning, dreaming, if you want to say so. And I think we have a problem that the healthcare market doesn't allow to try out products fast enough in order to rapid prototype them to make them useful for users. So I see a lot of products that have been built over years without real traction, and then when they hit the market, they struggle to make a business case or get on traction because they have been built in a very scientific bubble very often.
Yeah. Talking about obstacles, Friedrich, you're tackling with obstacles, or you're solving obstacle problems because you are in kind of harmonizing data breaches between devices, between data formats. I can remember in the 90s there was the discussion starting about interoperability, and there were many suppliers who defended their technology, their data format. They delivered no APIs for that. Has that changed? Has the industry a new view on the kind of data harmonization?
Yes and no. So I just read a press release from Philips, who announced their new all-integrated digital health support platform. And of course, it comes with everything, and everything is interoperable within their ecosystem. So this is the one end of the scale, and then you, by surprise, have other players, such as, for example, Withings, ex-Nokia, ex-Withings, that open up all their APIs to third parties. For us, it really doesn't matter. I mean, the more enclosed ecosystem there are, the more need there is for a way to get access to all this data fast and easy, and that is where we specialize in. Talking about this and access to the data hubs that the single providers are sitting on, we are also going one level deeper. When it comes to open systems such as smartwatches, there, for us, the question is rather, can we access specific sensor data streams? And also there, surprisingly, Apple is very closed. But for example, Android Wear and Samsung Tizen, if you know where to look for it, you can actually directly get the data, raw data, and analyze it, which is very valuable.
Cool. So would you say this is a market which will be run by monopolies, or would it be, would it allow for different providers?
I'm an economist by training, so I don't believe in monopolies. But there may be some, as for digital therapy. In terms of wearables, I don't believe at all, because it doesn't make sense when you offer a health service to offer wearables with it. And all of us, I mean, the statistics are 20-30% wearable penetration rate. All of us have at least one device, or will have in the future. And to make a health service work meaningful, you will need to integrate all those devices that your users have. So that's why.
Of course, I appreciate that, and I find it's interesting because you're working in so different areas, but you have in common that you four are kind of democratizing healthcare segment, which was previously owned or dominated by a few people. I mean, therapists or med suppliers with closed devices and so on. But we have talked about the products. I mean, there must be people who want to pay for it. Otherwise, you don't have a market. And this is something that may be forgotten in the discussion about the future of healthcare. I know we only have 30 minutes, but to make it short, really short, are people willing to pay? Are your customers willing to pay? And what experience did you make with the kind of billing structure, tornadoes or obstacles, which are like kind of rumors in the healthcare scene? Start with you.
Yeah, of course. It is for us in Germany that we are paid by all of the health insurance companies as part of the Kassler-Stottering treatment. And now when we go to the US market, we focus the direct customer. And then actually, this was also a decision to go to the US because they are more willing to pay, because they're very used to it, to pay for healthcare.
Thanks. Vincent?
Yeah, basically ADA serves as a platform that is controlling the whole health journey. That means basically everyone pays us when they want to work together with us. We're in a comfortable situation that we have more inbounds, that I have people in my team to follow up with them. So we basically make bidding competitions. So we let the people pitch us and we take the one with the highest price.
But I heard something, we've been talking about something like impact, make an impact and make healthcare accessible for people in like not so comfortable regions of the world. Is there something going on at ADA?
There's a bigger announcement coming, yes. So probably if you look at my Vita, you probably will find out that I'm a social entrepreneur, and so it's a rare choice. Why do you hire non-person from a healthcare background or from a pharma background for running this business? And I think what is really deeply rooted with us that we didn't found ADA to make a profit, but to make the world a better place. And it's nice that we found a business model that is accepted by many people. And now comes the question, what do we do with this power and these resources? And there will be a big announcement in the year.
Looking forward to this announcement. Friedrich, you're, I guess, mostly paid by big industrial corporates, so it might be a little bit easier instead of being paid by patients, or am I false?
Yeah, it's definitely a completely different situation for us.
Yeah.
Like for you two, I think it's the classic way, trying to get insurers, trying to get patients probably to pay for the service. And I hugely respect this in the German market. I think it's incredibly difficult, but there are, right now, it's really the pioneers that are succeeding in it. We provide a service to those that are succeeding. So, for us, it's a different perspective, really.
Yeah.
And also, we do projects with big corporates that focus more on sensor development. So we more or less have two legs where we are standing on, which makes it a bit more not easy, but not as strenuous as for you.
Thanks. Farina, I guess you were just, you know, you're the founder at the
salaries.
front line, I guess, you know, with the spade in the trench. How does it work? Well, how's your everyday billing life?
Tricky. Yeah, we started off in the B2C market in Germany, and we pretty quickly realized that the negotiations with all the health insurance, with the clinics, etc., just taken freaking forever. Like we're talking 16 months as like a short negotiation cycle. We've just signed up, I think, 5 health insurances, and we're in our almost third year. So with that, I could not pay the salaries, obviously. So we are putting our business on 3 different pillars now. We're putting it on B2C, self-pay market. And for us, there's people that are actually paying, which have a really high need of, or a high suffering in a way. They are willing to pay. We are also making money with corporates. So we go to a Zalando and we say, hey guys, like you have 15,000 employees. Second biggest reason is burnout or mental health disorders. Why don't you pay for prevention? And for prevention, there's also a law where you can easily work with the health insurance. So it's a little workaround. So we do that. Third pillar are actually clinics. So we just started with one really big clinic chain in aftercare. So we're trying to put it on different legs there because we've made the proactive decision to tackle the German market or the German-speaking market only for now, because we see a huge opportunity here. Yeah. Self-pay in other countries is a totally different story, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I mean, let's stay with the topic money. VCs, my favorite topic. I mean, we've got a lot of VCs in Germany who are now really keen on the healthcare market. Everybody does healthcare, you know, they did e-commerce before, now everyone's a healthcare specialist. Short answer round, what would you estimate, how much is the percentage of those German VCs who claim they're able to do healthcare, how many can really do healthcare? How many are capable in percent? What would you say?
Less than 5.
Less than 5%?
Yeah.
You? Come on, endorse the German VC scene. A big applause. Yeah, no, 50%.
Well, there are just not so many, right? Yeah. I mean, in Germany, VCs that claim to be active in healthcare, there are some that have done one investment somewhere. So there's just not too many. And of those, well, I cannot really judge because we have not been doing business with German VCs so far. Yeah. That's why I would rather look to Vincent for further insight, because you
Vincent.
know the VC
None in
business.
Germany.
Judge it.
I would not. Let's say this: the first 5 years we have been completely financed by a private family office. So I wonder how the VCs could miss the opportunity. And then when the big tickets were going out, it was a non-European one that got the hit.
Yeah.
And let's say I was surprised coming to the healthcare sector, speaking to many startups who have been around for a while, who have great team, great products, who still struggling to make their business case and their break-even point. So I will not judge, but I'm just wondering if the investors, have the money and the resource and the context in such a big market, just what's the problem?
Yeah.
And from that perspective, I would be.
Oh, that speaks for itself. Thank you, Vincent.
I don't need it. I have it here. For us, it's we are so far self-funded and did now a crowdfunding, so we have no real experience with VCs. But we can also see that the market is an interesting market, but it's also really high regulated. So this might be also a topic why it's not so attractive for VCs here in Germany.
Yeah. If I may bring in my own humble experience, I can tell, everyone's talking about the global healthcare market, and as far as I have experienced it, there is no one global healthcare market. You've been talking about a financing round with international VCs. So if it comes to comparing, let's stay in Europe, comparing European countries from their kind of progression regarding venture capital, regarding the implementation of new technologies, which country would say is really ahead, and what could we learn from those countries? Just, bring in your experiences. Vincent? You're just looking. You want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something, because I think it's not true for technology, because actually we're doing business all around the world, and our business model, the things we're selling, the product is the same. So I think it doesn't apply if you have therapy and you are, have to get someone in the insurance systems or whatsoever. But if you're selling technology, I think it's slightly different. And one country I was partly impressed with is not the US, but it's China, where we're having very intense discussions at the moment. And these people are basically, the mindset is just, like 100 levels higher.
Like Flatiron being bought by
they come and they say, okay, we have 300 million, what can we do? Right? And they have so many capital resources, market entry points, rollout opportunities, governmental protection, that I'm actually quite sure that if we see a big major health company emerge in the next year, it will come probably from China. Or will we have very strong roots to China?
Thanks. Friedrich, you've been mentioning some Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, I wasn't about to venture out to China. And I think like even in China, like German quality still has a resonance. And that may also apply to healthcare. I don't know, but we probably all recall these baby milk topic 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you are proven to produce sound quality in a topic that is as sensitive as healthcare, I strongly believe that European companies do have an advantage. And we can provide European products. We have a European product regulation. If you are CE certified, you're able to sell your product all over Europe. If you have a human component with it, it makes it more difficult. And reimbursement is different all over. And that again, looking at reimbursements and adoption rates, all the Nordic countries are a lot farther than we are. The Netherlands are a lot farther ahead than we are. Countries as far away as Australia that just have the need to organize healthcare over huge distances are steps ahead in healthcare. I think 3-4 years ago there has been this research on biggest potential in healthcare. Germany, of course, it's 80+ million people, a lot of illnesses. But then again, market availability, market entry, the most difficult market, Germany. Yeah. So yes, we're here, we're surviving, and it will change for sure, but it may take some 1-2 years.
But would you all agree with your experience? I had the impression, German healthcare, digital healthcare means doing sales bottom up, whereas in China you've been talking about like a top-down decision-making to give the infrastructure, to endorse and really push the technology. I had the impression that we have a fragmented market with many, many heroes fighting for themselves, but no big, really adjusted agenda from top down.
I think as well, just to answer this quickly, is like it's definitely a political topic, right? We need to have the political framework. Why in Australia? And you can probably pick from my accent. I did live in Australia for quite a long time. The political framework is more open. They enforce telemedicine all over the country, because if you live in Alice Springs, there's just no way that you can see a orthopedist within an hour or two. You got to fly for 5 hours. So they had to make a decision. And we're still in the kind of comfortable situation where we need to do something, but not really. And I give you an example. There's this telemedicine trial now in some parts of Germany. And I think it's awesome, right? Like you read about it, you're like, oh, finally, like we're doing something in telemedicine. Yeah. The budget attached to this, 400,000 euros for 2 years. So now figure how much of a pilot that is. That's just nothing. So I think it comes from the political area, where you need to put on some pressure in order to really shape Germany in a different direction.
I see the chili soup I served you before is paying off. Let's stay with the sales process. And I mean, we all need reputation. So when I see the boilerplates or the imprint of some digital health startups, there are always clinics, hospitals named. Hospitals and the corporation, is it just for reputation building, which might not be minor worth, but is it also paying off in terms of commercial traction? What do you think?
For us, it's a different situation, because we have such a, as you said before, like a product, and our target group is so small. And for us, it worked out very, very well with the institute. But of course, big clinics, they're much, much harder to reach and to convince them also to use the product. So, but there we have no real experience.
Okay.
I think it's incredibly valuable. So if you're in a discussion and you can point to validations that you've done with, for example, Charité or any other big clinic or university, then there's just no questions answered and there's no questions posed anymore. So of course this does help. In terms of monetization, clinics have their own budget, so that could also pay out neatly. But I think that very much depends on the service that you offer for them. Okay, thanks.
I mean, it seems to be that the vision building is more easy than implementing visions here in Germany. I want to quote our former Chancellor Helmut Schmidt, who said, those who got visions should go see the doctor. Unfortunately, he did not tell if you got visions for doctors where you should go. So I would be very glad if you could leave, the audience, people being interested in founding a healthcare startup themselves. Like, what would you make differently from today's point of view, and which recommendation would you give young, enthusiastic healthcare founders? Johanna.
Yeah. Actually, because I'm not the most patient person ever, so I think, but this is also very important, because it takes time in the healthcare sector sometimes, and there are 3 Ps I have sometimes in my mind, and this is more like, be patient, be positive, and love what you do and prove it. These are these 3 things which are, I think, very important.
Okay, thanks. Vincent.
As I recently came to the sector, I'm making very different experience. So my first deal with a very large health insurance took 2 weeks. So my advice would be, it's a very good time to start something. If something is moving, and I think there is a momentum in healthcare that we're seeing probably until the end of next year, where we have a minister in place who wants to be more than a minister, so he pushes things, and everyone lets him push because everyone felt it's enough, right? We have been traditional for a long, long time. Let's maybe try something out. And also we have a state of economy high. That means the money is there. It doesn't matter in which institution you look. So I think use that momentum is a very good advice to any entrepreneur.
Thank you. Friedrich.
I think founders should ask themselves whether they want to go into healthcare, because it's very rewarding. It's a great thing to do. You do not question why you do it. And I step dance to work every day, as Warren Buffett said once. When it comes to the point in time, I completely agree with you. All the statistics say this is the moment to get into digital health. But then hard facts, try to understand the market, try to understand where the money comes from, and that is essential. The rest will fall into place.
Farina. You see, you have
Yeah,
a very
I'm thinking.
philosophic attitude there.
There's
right
a lot
now.
of points that I would give people on the way, but the first thing would be definitely one of the mistakes that we made was not finding the right investors in the beginning. So really, like, if you're trying to penetrate B2C market in Germany, you're gonna find investors that really understand that this market is not growing like hockey stick, like it's rather growing like a flat footpath, you know, with maybe like 2 stairs coming in like 100 meters. So I guess the way Ada did it is actually really interesting. Going into a foreign market, building a great product, getting the customers, and coming to the health insurance here and saying, guys, we got 1 million users, so do you want this? Which I guess is a better situation to negotiate rather than us, you know, and saying, oh, we have like 1,000 people in the therapy, but it's really a big problem, and like we're really efficient and stuff, and this helps. And our negotiation position was just a lot not as good. We still made it. We still got the funding, all good. But yeah, if you focus on B2C, I would strongly recommend maybe getting the experience from overseas and bringing it over here. But as you can see from our example, you can find other ways to monetize. And if you're into B2B, maybe you can even bootstrap it. Yeah. Maybe that's even an option.
Cool, thank you very much. So let me kind of sum up, if this is possible, for the audience. Just say if you agree that the healthcare market has many facets, it's got a momentum, there's something really going on. Also, the industry is moving, the government is moving, but there's still a feasible gap between, you know, PR vision and everyday reality, and everyone who enters this market should calculate that it might be a time of struggling with micromanagement until, you know, the big shot in healthcare will be reached. Is that right? Okay, we talk about it afterwards. So thank you very much for listening. I will try to put an address in the footer of this event, where if you got questions and you're dealing with questions in founding your own healthcare startup, that maybe your questions will get answered by other startup founders. But for this so long, I say thank you very much for listening.